The National Girls Speech and Debate Championship is brought to you by Mermac Productions in partnership with the Ghana Education Service, Ghana Commission for UNESCO, Forum for African Women Educationalists, and Planned Parenthood Association of Ghana. Proudly sponsored by Margins ID Systems, Identity Management Systems, Intelligent Card Production Systems, CUPA Study International, Verna Mineral Water, McBerry Biscuits, and Planet Drinks. Also supported by Anku Adlaw for Buying Organization and Canan Care Travel and Tour. NGSDC, Educate, Empower, Encourage.
Welcome to the most insightful and empowering event of the season. This is Girls Debate, and we are at the semi-finals of this competition at the St. Thomas Aquinas Senior High School, and I'm here as your host of the red carpet, Sandra. And I have here with me Francisca Odum from GOMOA Senior High Technical School. Hello, Francisca.
Hello, madam.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
Okay, so how has the journey been so far?
Okay, it wasn't that easy. Okay. But in all things, we put God first, so we are able to be current.
Okay.
And expect something good from us today.
Okay. How are you feeling this morning?
I'm feeling okay, and I'm the first supporting speaker too.
Congratulations.
Thank
and
you.
I hope you are winning today.
Yes, please.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, well.
Miss Sekia, how are you doing today?
Very fine.
And how is the feeling generally? How is the feeling so far? We saw you in the round of 16, we saw you at the quarterfinals, and here we are at the semi-finals. How is the feeling so far?
Honestly, today I'm feeling very nervous because I feel like the whole school is depending on us. Yes, but then it's been good so far, so good, and we are hoping for the best.
Please, with a round of applause, let's welcome our special guest of honor, Mrs. Portia Gabo. Put your hands together for her. Sunshine, sunshine, sunshine.
So it was time for me to enter university. I first applied to the Ghana Institute of Journalism for a degree, but because of my F in elective maths, I was told I had to start with a diploma, so I didn't gain admission to GIJ. So the Africa University College of Communication offered me a diploma in communication studies. At that time, most of my friends were at the university level doing a degree, but I had to start from diploma. At the diploma level, I did 2 years diploma in communication studies at AUCC. And then after AUCC, I had to do my national service at the Ministry of Information at the Information Services Department. Now, mind you, in school, they claimed I had big ears. I don't know whether they are still big, are they? So I had low self-esteem then because they gave me a name called Lue. I don't know how Lue connect with someone with a big ear. So like I'll do hairstyles that will cover my ear up, and I did not even think I was a very beautiful girl. I lacked confidence. Even to sit in a church or to tell the mates that I'll get down at this stop, I was so shy to do that. Many times I would end up getting down at another stop, which was not my stop, because I was shy to even tell the mates that I wanted to alight at a particular place. So at the Ministry of Information, I would read to some children in my neighborhood. So, and I'll pretend as if I was a newscaster at TV3. So I'll take a newspaper, and then I'll gather the children around, and then they'll all be laughing. But little did I know that I was actually preparing myself in a little small way. So do not despise your small beginnings. So I kept doing that for some time. Then during break times at the Ministry of Information, I'll pick the newspaper again, and then I'll read, and then by the time I realize, some of my colleagues will gather, and then they'll be listening to me read, and then we'll all be laughing. One day, as I was doing that, on the television, there was an advert on TV3. They said they were looking for a journalist and a newscaster. all of a sudden, all eyes in the room turned to me, and they were like, "You've been reading to us every day. I think it's time for you to move from reading to us to reading for Ghana." And I was like, "No, I don't think I can do that. I'm not beautiful enough. I have big ears. Everyone is going to laugh at me." They still forced me to do so. So I applied on condition that my best friend would apply with me because I felt she was better than me. And then when we saw the advert, it was the last day, so I quickly had to rush to Photo Club to take a picture. And I was in ponytail, and do you know what that meant? It meant that my ears were showing in the picture. They were glaring with the pony and then the big ear. I took the picture anyway, and I was hoping my best friend will be chosen. Then I was at work, and I received a call from the news editor then at TV3, and he was like, "Are you the one with the big ears?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "Quickly come to TV3. And I was wondering why he would choose me among the lot. When we went there, he said, when he was looking through the pictures, it was my ear that stood out. Because almost everyone in his family had ears like mine. Now, something that I was actually running away from, my physical appearance that I was running away from, it's actually what the news editor saw to call me for my first audition, even before the other people. It was because of my ear. So sometimes what you are running away from can actually be the thing that will lead you to your destiny. So I auditioned, I went for an interview, and then I was told, I did not think I did well in the interview, but I was called one day and I was told that it was time for you to work at TV3. That was when I started working at TV3. So from reading to people in my neighborhood, reading to my friends at work, I moved from the field into the King's Palace. And now, it's not as easy as that. At TV3, there were many big people there. The Emma Morrisons were there, the Nanaba and Amwes were there, the Gideon Ayikwe's were there, and who was I? No one even knew my name in Ghana. I was actually in my seed form, and I have something to show you. In this container, what do you see? A seed. Do you know what seed it is? You don't know what it is. If I give you this seed to chew, it will taste bitter in your mouth, right? Why? Because seeds are meant to be planted. They are not meant to be eaten. If you saw me in my seed form, you wouldn't like me then. So when I started TV3, you wouldn't like me in my seed form. It is very small, right? It doesn't look beautiful. But the same seed is what produced this apple. Do you know what it means? Greatness begins from something small. So as you're here, you're in your seed form, right? You want to become a big person. You want to become a lawyer. You want to become a doctor. You want to become a pilot. But you are in your seed form now, right? But a seed is meant to be planted. It is meant to be watered. And then very soon, this small, tiny thing that you see will become a big tree which will produce a fruit. And when you become a fruit, there's a seed inside you which needs to be planted again. So when you become whoever you want to become in future, you have to help another person to also achieve their dreams. So I'll be wrapping up very soon. At TV3, I had to relearn everything. Now, my teachers would teach you in senior high school, the word S-A-Y-S is what? Good. Those days we would say says. Now, a word like, what's this? Okay, the B is silent. You are not climbing, you are climbing. It's not tetanus, it's tetanus. Yeah. So I had to relearn the English language because professors are watching you. Professors from the Department of Linguistics are watching you. And I kept making mistakes when I was reading because you think you know English till you start reading the news and people will start correcting you when you're reading. So I had to relearn English again. So one day in the newspaper, Graphic Showbiz, there was a professor from the linguistics department at the University of Ghana who had written an article, and he was mentioning the names of journalists who he felt their pronunciation was bad. And lo and behold, my name featured. I'm like, goodness, you know, when you're working in the public space, everyone can criticize you. And it's so difficult dealing with criticism, especially when they're not constructive. So immediately I went to work. The security man saw me and quickly rushed to me. Have you gotten a copy of Graphic Showbiz? Your name is over there. And he was laughing. I was like, God, I'm going to resign. That's not what I bargained for. I wanted to be a shy girl sitting at the back and not in the public space. And God, why did you bring me here for only this lecturer to laugh at me? And now everyone is laughing at me because they feel I am not that good. So that day I wanted to resign. I had even drafted my resignation letter. But I had to read. I started with sports news. So as I was about to read the news, there was one director who walked to me and was like, I don't think you're good enough. And then I started crying. I was going to read the news and I was crying. I was in tears. And he was like, I think this is not for you. Reading is not for you. You're not good enough. You do not even have confidence or everything. So I was reading. I was about to read. It was time for sports news. And then they had gone on a commercial break. At the commercial break, I was crying like a baby. Ma. And like my makeup got spoiled. I was crying. And then, you know, when you go on a commercial break, before you come back, they count down from 10, 9, 8, 3, 2, 1. Then the director will say, kill sound, take reader cue. When you hear the word cue, there's someone in the background who will press a button. That's when you people will see us in your homes, right? So at 10, I was crying, ma. And it was going to be a big disgrace in the whole of Ghana to see a newscaster crying instead of reading the news. So 10, I was crying. 9, I was crying. 8, I was crying. 7, I was still crying. And some people were happy because they were going to see that I'll be crying and then they'll take me off air and that would be the end of my journalism career. And then people will upload it on YouTube and they'll be laughing at me. It got to 3, I was still crying. My makeup was even spoiled. The mascara was somewhere. 2, I was crying. 1, I was crying. And then the director said, kill sound, take reader cue. And immediately the guy pressed the button. Guess what happened? There was light off. And that's not a totally story. That's actually something that happened. There was light off. There was a major power outage in the whole of Ghana then. And I sat in the darkness and our generator did not even work that day. And immediately I knew there was a power greater than I that was behind me.
I have two schools, GOMOA to my right and then St. Monica Senior High School to my left. GOMOA is for the motion that traditional leadership should play a larger role in the governance of Ghana. St. Monica Senior High School says no, traditional leadership should not play a larger role in the governance of Ghana. The rules of the game. Principal speaker has 7 minutes to make her point. On her 5th minute, she'll hear the bell go once, then it means you have 2 more minutes for both sides. Second speaker has 5 minutes. On your 3rd minute, you also hear the bell go once. When you hear the bell go and end, it means you are out of your time. Are we okay? Then the final speaker, you have 3 minutes. You hear the bell go and end, then it means you are out of your time. So we are good. Judges, your debaters, your judges, briefly, maybe just only you. What are you looking out for?
To the debaters, you are welcome. You know the rules already, all right? We expect you to be confident, eloquent. Just be yourself. You know your motion, okay? We are looking for content. We are looking for your argumentation skills, how you present, how you tackle the point being made by your opponent. So we know all of you are skilled at what you do already, and so we wish you all the best, okay? Yeah. All
right, I think we are set. We can start from the school for the motion, GOMOA Senior High Technical School.
The chair, that was the reform of the Shai traditional area in the Dabdo West District on the roles of modern chiefs in campus, in partial jury, or protocols duly observed. My name is Miss Osset, principal speaker of GOMOA Senior High Technical School Native, taking the affirmative stand of the motion, voted on calls. Traditional leadership should play a larger role in the governance of Ghana. The chair, after my delivery comes the first supporting speaker, then the last speaker flows the argument. classes when needed, exhibits and evidence shall be tended into rational arguments.
The chair. I crave your indulgence to explain the key terms in the motion. First is traditional leadership. The African Journal of Political Science defines traditional leadership as a system of leadership that is based on the cultural, social, and religious norms of a community, and is often hereditary and appointed by elders or community members. Next is the phrase to play a larger role. According to the Oxford Dictionary, this phrase means to have a more important, significant, or influential part in the situation or something. Last but not least, governance. The United Nations Development Program 1997 defines governance as a process of decision making and a process by which decisions are implemented. The chair. At its core, the motion means that chiefs, kings, and other traditional leaders should have more influence and authority in how Ghana is governed. The chair. Let me be quick to add that the bone of contention here is the phrase playing a larger role in governance and not taking over governance. As our opponents here may be tempted to conclude, once again, my team and I affirm the motion. Based on the advanced undisputed argument, we are going to expound. Now to my first argument, colonial legacy. The chair. Chiefs are still seen as embodying governmental authority because of the legacy of colonial indirect rule system, where chiefs were a major element in the colonial government, both at local level as native authority and in central institutions such as Joint Provincial Council. As Lord Lugard, the architect of indirect rule, noted, and I quote, traditional authorities are the backbone of the native administration, unquote. Lugard, 1922. Esteemed judges, chiefs played a larger role in implementing colonial policies and programs, which led to the significant developments in the Gold Coast, including the construction of the Accra-Kumasi railway lines, the Takoradi Harbour, and the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. The appointment of Nanase Oforiatta I to the Executive Council in 1942, as noted by historian Emmanuel Champo, marked a significant turning point in the recognition of the importance of chiefs in governance. At Champo, 2011. This legacy demonstrates that traditional leadership can collaborate with modern institutions to drive development, as noted by Kwame Nkrumah, and I quote, the traditional institutions of our people are not mere relics of the past, but a living force that can be honored for the development of our country, unquote, in Nkrumah, 1964. Now to my second argument, traditional leadership as complementary governance structure. The chair. When traditional leadership play a larger role in the governance of Ghana, it will serve as a complementary governance structure and provide grassroots governance that suit the demands and needs of rural folks. Panel of judges, it is an undeniable fact that most government officials often neglect these areas, leaving traditional leaders to fill the gap. The chair. It is therefore in order to give traditional leaders a larger role to play in the governance of Ghana, as they have since time immemorial indirectly played executive, judicial, and legislative roles for the subject. Moreover, the 1992 Constitution of Ghana makes provision for the recognition of the importance of chiefs in governance. Article 270, Clause 1 clearly states, and I quote, the institution of chieftaincy, together with its traditional council, as established by customary law and usage, is hereby guaranteed, unquote. I tender in evidence. Now to my third argument, traditional leadership promotes active democratic participation of citizens. The chair. Traditional leaders are the embodiment of democratic participation, serving as the authentic voice of their people and ensuring proper community engagement to drive development. The chair. Traditional leaders like Otumfo Osei II, Nana Amotia of Repenning II, and Togbe Afede the 14th have consistently demonstrated their ability to mobilize that subject towards collective growth and development as the people listen and believe in them more than politicians. Ladies and gentlemen, recently the Asante Hene, Otumfo Osei II, used his power and influence to attract massive support from across the length and breadth of Ghana, and even in the diaspora, including the players and the stars of the Ghana officials in his Hill Konfanochi project. The chair. Consequently, the stars assured the king of their support to help complete the project, which had been abandoned for decades. I tender in evidence. The chair. This is a demonstration of the leadership we need in the governance of Ghana. Now to my fourth argument, conflict resolution and peace building. The chair. Traditional leaders possess exceptional powers and skills in conflict resolution, making them invaluable assets in Ghana's governance, as rightly encapsulated by a renowned author, Desmond Tutu. Traditional leaders have deep understanding of the cultural nuances and complexities of their communities, enabling them to resolve conflicts in a way that is both effective and sustainable. Unquote. Tutu, 2009. After all, that is what traditional leadership resonates, a symbol of unity, peace, peace and accountability. Now to my fifth argument, deep-rooted connection to the people. The chair, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah once said, and I quote, "The traditional leader is a link between the past and the present, and the bridge between the government and the people." Unquote, Nkrumah 1964. The chair, this connection enables them to intimately understand the challenges and needs of their people and address them. A classic example is the recent development the people of Dumesia in the Bunu region are experiencing under the Nkoswahini Nana Ayebia Fujina. I tender in evidence. Similarly, Nana Pra Ajinsem of Asim Kushia in the Central region has used this connection to promote tourism and foreign investment. And today, Asim Kushia boasts of the cleanest town in the Central region and has the biggest palace in West Africa. Panel of adjudicators said traditional leadership is seriously required in the governance of Ghana to bring development to Ghanaians. They chair the House, considering the sound and logical arguments we have raised in the formation of the motion. We hope we have you on the side. Thank you.
Let's all listen to this audio. Why is there 3 essays when can these are 3 questions. You solve them and come out and misbehave again. To free with Jimmy and ya so nipple be doing what was a case? Nipple be doing Section of excuse me for these strong words, but this should tell us the gravity of the motion here. This is how our opponents want the only revered institution left in Ghana, our traditional leader, to be reduced to. Section, this is not a small issue, but the renowned Ochimbi, who is being insulted by Kelvin Taylor.
What at all did he do? He only supported Nanado and his predecessors. He didn't even take part in governance. So with this, as a proud Ashanti, I beg my village chief not to take any larger role in governance. For if the whole Achihne has been reduced to this, I wonder what will happen to him. The chair, impartial panel of judges, accurate timekeeper, fellow students, co-debaters, ladies and gentlemen, good day. I am Eugenia Pokiose, a student of St. Monica's Senior High, and I'm elated to be called upon as the principal speaker against the motion before this August House today. Quote and unquote, traditional leadership should play a larger role in the governance of Ghana. The chair, before I begin my argument, permit me to explain the key terms in the motion for the benefit of everyone present. According to the Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionary, traditional leadership is a process where someone exercises a form of leadership that rests on customary or traditional authority, such as lineage or descent. Larger is the comparative form of large, which means of considerable or great extent or size. Governance, according to Merriam-Webster, is the act or process of overseeing the control and direction of something, such as a country or an organization. In short, the motion posits that a revered men, the only institution which is currently held in high esteem in Ghana, should engage themselves or be assigned with more governmental roles by working with the government. To begin with the chair, conflicts of interest may arise when traditional leaders play a larger role in governance. Meanwhile, our traditional leaders are seen as symbols of national unity, cohesion, and bonding agents of citizens across the country. So they may find it difficult to remain neutral when conflicts arise in our locality. This dual role will cause conflicts which will eventually create disputes among community members. Traditional leaders may also have interests that are specific to their local groups or ethnic groups at heart and not the national interest, for which my opponents are saying that they should be called to serve. Let's take the Jabehine, who doubles as a member of the Council of State, into consideration. I know my opponents may think he has done a very commendable job by helping to develop the Jabin constituency. But look at Ifidiaste, which is very close to Jabin. Compare the state of their roads and infrastructure to that of Jabin and tell me the difference. This should tell us that when traditional leaders are made to play a larger role in governance, they may focus on their community's welfare at the expense of others who may need it the most. I'm sure if this Jabin had the national interest at heart, he would fight for the development of his neighboring town as well. Also, traditional leaders playing a larger role in governance will create ethnic tensions in the country. Ghana is a multi-ethnic country, and the involvement of traditional leaders in governance can trigger ethnic decisions. It is an open secret that there's a thin line of hatred between Ashantis and Voltarians and other tribes as well. Can we imagine the tension that will be created in a volatile country like ours when traditional leaders go into governance and prioritize their ethnic groups' interests? For example, if Northerners see that they are underdeveloped only because chiefs chosen into governance are Ashantis, How would they feel? The chair, do we want to experience the Third World War? Moving on the chair, what my opponents are fighting for is even unconstitutional if we all embrace and cherish democracy. Article 276 clause 1 of the 1992 Constitution of Ghana states, and I quote, a chief shall not take part in active party politics. And I'm surprised my opponents here are fighting for chiefs to play a larger role in governance. I never knew they wanted to be enemies of democracy. Also, traditional leaders playing a larger role in governance will restrict judicial independence. Traditional leaders have judicial powers to adjudicate minor disputes, and involvement in partisan politics can compromise their independence and confidence when dispensing justice. You, my opponent, imagine you have a fight with somebody who belongs to the political party the chief is affiliated to. Would you get the right conviction to send the issue to the chief? No, you may feel the chief will be biased and rule in favor of that person. After all, the cockroach cannot be innocent in the garden of the fowls, neither can the fowl in the midst of the hawk. The chair, traditional leaders playing a larger role in governance may be considered to be biased, even if they remain impartial. Let us not forget that we are in Ghana, and when someone supports or comments a particular party, he or she is seen to be one of them. This will undermine the credibility of our traditional leaders. Imagine a traditional leader makes a decision at the local level. The members of the opposing party may not agree, because in Ghana, it is not about how beneficial whatever you are telling us is, but rather where you have aligned yourself. Politics has indeed clouded our sense of judgment, and that is Ghana for you. The traditional leaders playing a larger role in governance will stifle the development of the community and the nation at large. Traditional leaders play a vital role in community development by advocating for projects such as schools, hospitals, and roads. However, involvement in partisan politics can hinder development, especially when the supported party does not win elections. The chair, the Ochihine, by supporting Nanado, has in one way or the other declared its support for NPP. In the next reign, when NPP is no longer in power, what is the guarantee that the next party will undertake developmental projects there, as against a place that did not openly declare their stance? Tit for tat. It's in the DNA of every Ghanaian politician, no. Traditional leaders, you have to be worried. According to the Afrobarometer around 7-7 in Ghana, 80% of the public hold the view that traditional leaders have been affected by the corruption canker. The chair, why do we give people who have already lost their credibility in the eyes of the public a larger role? In fact, what governance knowledge do they have, apart from how to rule their communities using customs and traditions, that you are fighting for them to be given a larger role? Wow. Lastly, it will lead to the complication of governance structure. Can we imagine a lower or sub-chief being chosen into governance when a paramount or higher chief is not? This will bring conflicts, right? Remember, the typical Ghanaian is always green with envy and always wants to be ahead of their own people. That is Ghana for you, and this is our behavior. Lastly, the chair, the house, if our traditional leaders do not remain where they are and try to fight for positions in governance, they will be shown their role size. If you doubt this, consult me, Ayibonte of Better Traditional Area, and let's meet later. Let us all uphold a sacred institution and not drag them to be insulted. There's a thin difference between large and larger, and if our opponents want traditional leaders to add the R to the large, all that R will bring is riot in our country. Thank you.
The chairperson, impartial panel of judges, all protocols duly observed. My name is Francisca Odum, first supporting speaker of GOMOA Senior High Technical School debate team, taking the affirmative stand of the motion, quote and unquote. Traditional leadership should play a larger role in the governance of Ghana. The chair, I affirm all that my principal speaker has said, and I proceed to advance new arguments. The later, rebut some of the paperweight arguments raised by our opponents. Now to our seat arguments. Traditional leadership promotes social cohesion. The chair, chiefs command immense respect and loyalty from their subjects, which can be used to completely mobilize for development when they are allowed to play a larger role in the governance of Ghana, as rightly noted by Professor Kwesi Ansucheme 2004. Quote, chiefs are the embodiment of cultural and social values of their people, unquote. This moral authority enabled them to inspire collective actions for development. In the Ashanti region, for example, the Asantehene, Otumfo Oseititi II, is able to bring all the people together to embark on communal labor to improve sanitation in the region. In contrast, politicians have struggled to replicate this level of cohesion and mobilization. The chair, the National Sanitation Day introduced in 2014 by the government was met with apathy and disinterest, and nothing came out of it. I tender in an evidence. However, when traditional leaders declare a day of communal labor, every shop is closed, every car is parked, all activities come to a standstill, and the people, together with their chiefs, willingly participate. Impartial jury, that was the king of Asanteman, leading his people to clean the whole of Kumasi. By giving traditional leadership a larger role in governance, Ghana can tap into this social capital and foster a sense of community and shared responsibility. Now to our seventh argument, legacy legacy of wisdom and experience. The chair, our position on this motion hinges on the fact that traditional leaders in Ghana possess a legacy of wisdom and experience gained through generational knowledge, which is a recipe for stability and continuity in governance. As we know, Ghanaian author Ayekwe Ama once said, and I quote, "Traditional leaders are the custodians of our collective memory, and their wisdom is a treasure trove of knowledge," unquote. Ama 1979. This wealth of experience will enable them to approach governance with long-term perspectives, prioritizing the well-being of their people. The chair, the Nkoswohini of Dumesia in the Buni region, Nana Ayebia Fujina, recently demonstrated how traditional leaders can use their wisdom and long-term thinking to bring development to their areas of jurisdiction. The chair, this is what just one chief can do to his community, and we dare not keep such visionary leaders from the governance of Ghana. Now to our final argument, economic growth and development. The chair, traditional leaders have the authority to create economic opportunities, fostering job creation and improve livelihood. The Asante-Hene, Otofo Osei II, has been instrumental in establishing the Asante-Man Development Fund, which has attracted both local and foreign investment and created jobs in the Ashanti region for millions of people. Similarly, the paramount chief of Achim Ebwakwa traditional area, Ochihine Osajifo Amotia of Repeni II, has implemented the Oshiman Development Fund to support small-scale businesses and farmers, according to a study by the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration, GEMPA. Traditional leaders have contributed significantly to local economic development, with 70% of their respondents citing job creation as key benefits. GEMPA 2019. The chair, by empowering traditional leaders, Ghana can tap into their entrepreneurial spirit to unlock economic growth and development. Now, rebuttals. The chair, my opponents made mention of conflict of interest. The chair, let me tell my opponents that traditional leadership is biblical. That is why we called God King of Kings and not President of Presidents. Again, they also made mention of chiefs as symbols of unity, so playing a role in governance could break down board of unity. This argument is without merit. I want to curate that by saying playing a role in governance does not necessarily equate to partisan politics. Their involvement can rather strengthen unity by ensuring that diverse perspectives are addressed. So that argument is flawed. The chair, panel of judges, considering the sound and logical arguments we have raised, we hope we have you on our side. Thank you.
Yes, my opponents. Traditional leaders contribute to governance by building illuminating materials and all the knowledge to give us. But nobody has stopped them. So ask yourself why should they play a larger role in governance? Because if they simply perform their duties well, there will be no need to give them a larger role in governance. They should simply brighten the opponents where they are. Imagine a traditional leader appointed into governance to defend their party's policies. A traditional leader moving away from his traditional role to serve his governance is not to be a question. The chair panel of judges, accurate and keeper, fellow students, co-debaters, ladies and gentlemen, I am a here actress of Nabusa, supporting speaker, speaking against the motion before the House, quote unquote. Traditional leadership should play a larger role in the governance of Ghana. The chair, since my principal speaker has already explained the key terms, permits me to delve straight into my argument. First of all, traditional leaders should not play a larger role in governance because it would bring community division. Chiefs play a key role in maintaining peace, resolving conflicts, and guiding their people. And when chiefs become involved in traditional governance, it can bring division between the chief and his people because they are seen as neutral figures who should not take part in politics. When a chief takes a larger governmental role, he will by all means support a political party that give him a chance, and that may bring tension between the chief and his people because not everyone may be in support of his political choice. It is like the chief has descended into the gutters and the people will be ready to muddy themselves with him. This will lead to loss of respect and trust for the traditional leader because he would be seen more as a politician than a respected leader, and this shift in perception can weaken the overall unity of a community because the chief's authority will no longer be recognized. Also, the chair, traditional leaders should focus on their core mandates assigned to them by the 1992 Constitution and not play a larger role in governance. For the framers of our Constitution took many things into consideration when they were making it. My opponents, allow me to educate you since you don't want to read your social studies textbooks. Our traditional leaders are to act as custodians of our natural resources and key stakeholders in land acquisition. They are to preserve our environment, settle disputes, and act as guardians by promoting and preserving our traditional heritage, values, and norms. The chair, are they done with these important roles? Why should we burden them with additional political responsibilities? I've seen a Bible on your table. Open to Matthew chapter 25, verses 14 to 20 if you want to understand. Furthermore, the participation of traditional leaders in governance is
is anti-democratic. Chiefs inherit their position through lineage or are appointed by a group of elders, it does not reflect the will of the people. And this contracts the democratic process by which politicians are chosen through elections. Chief holds significant responsibilities in community, often taking decisions without consulting the people. And this can limit the participation of an ordinary citizen in the decision-making process because their voices are not heard. Politicians are expected to represent the interests of their constituencies, and they are held accountable to their people through regular elections. While politicians operate within a framework of laws, chiefs often rely on customs and tradition. In addition, there will be loss of respect through the lack of accountability when traditional leaders are involved in governance. Chiefs are less accountable to their people when they are given political offices. Their loyalties can shift towards their political allies rather than their community members. And this can lead to an unfortunate situation where a chief is more concerned with maintaining his political power than serving his people, eroding the trust of the people. And when the trust is broken, accountability is weakened, and the overall development of the community suffers. The chair, before the politics we see today, traditional leaders were in their reign and control of their people, even predating the advent of colonization. My opponents are speaking as though traditional institution is a new one, but we all know it isn't. What lessons and character traits the traditional leadership bequeath on us as a people? And remember, we are still experiencing it. Nepotism, greed, lordship, property grabbing, maltreatment of the innocent and vulnerable in community, and the false appropriation of beautiful women in their communities as wives. We are already dealing with these issues with our politicians who are accountable to us. How much more traditional leaders who won't be accountable? My opponents are aware of this, but because this is a debate, they've become enemies of progress. It's an open secret that these traditional leaders my opponents are fighting for are the main reason for our country's inability to stop galamsey. And even Otunfo Osetutu confirms this, that some chiefs are behind it. Why are conflicts being laid bare on the tables of Antina and Mama Efe and not sent to our traditional leaders whose sole responsibility is to solve conflict? This is a testament that our traditional leaders have failed to perform their core mandates. So why should we burden them with larger role in governance? The chair of the house, let's maintain the status quo. Thank you.
The chair, the audio that was played by our opponents lacks argumentative weight because it is just an audio and not a video. So how are we sure that it was said by a king? The chair, our opponents argued that traditional leaders will create ethnic tension. They are trying to say that traditional leaders could have legal and constitutional implications since their authority is hereditary and unlimited. That is a fallacy, the chair. I want to remind our opponent that the 1992 Constitution of Ghana recognizes the authority of traditional leaders in Article 276, Clause 2. So that argument by our opponent is baseless. The chair, impartial jury, all protocols duly observed. A beautiful presentation, they say, deserves a beautiful summary. That is why I, Fatwad of GOMOA Senior High Technical School Debate Team, mount this stage to give a summary of the clear and vivid points we have raised in affirmation of the motion that, I quote, traditional leadership should play a larger role in the governance of Ghana, unquote. The chair, our position is that traditional leaders possess wisdom, legitimacy, and grassroots credibility to strengthen our governance. In all, we have phrased the following argument to affirm the motion. 1. Traditional leadership played a larger role in the colonial indirect rule system, which led to significant developments in the Gold Coast. We are guided by the colonial legacy. 2. Traditional leadership can serve as a complementary government and provide grassroots governance that suits the demands and needs of the people. 3. Traditional leadership will promote active democratic participation of citizens as chiefs serve as the authentic voice of their people and ensure active community engagement. 4. Traditional leaders possess a legacy of wisdom and experience gained through generational knowledge, which is a recipe for stability and continuity in governance. 5. Traditional leadership has a deep-rooted connection to the people, as rightly noted by Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and I quote, traditional leaders are the link between the past and the present and the bridge between the government and the people, unquote. 6. Traditional leadership will promote social cohesion that will inspire collective action for development. 7. Traditional leaders possess a legacy of wisdom and experience gained through generational knowledge, which is a recipe for stability and continuity in governance. 8. Traditional leadership have the authority to create economic opportunities to unlock economic growth and prosperity for local communities. And finally, traditional leadership in governance is recognized by the 1992 Constitution of Ghana under Article 276, Clause 2, and the Chieftaincy Act 2008, Act 936. Our respect for the laws of Ghana. The chair, before I resume my seat, permits me to conclude that traditional leadership in governance is biblically endorsed. 1 Samuel chapter 8, verse 4 to 5, the Israelites requested for a king to rule them, but God appointed kings to lead them. Based on the validity of our argument, we have you on our side. Thank you.
Panel of judges, accurate timekeeper, co-debaters, fellow students, ladies and gentlemen, I greet you all. I am Abina Drowa Otinyamiche, representing St. Monica Senior High School, and I am honored to summarize the points raised by my principal and subordinate speakers. The chair will argue that 1. Traditional leaders playing a larger role in governance will give rise to conflicts of interest. 2. It will lead to ethnic tension in the country. 3. It will restrict judicial independence. 4. It is unconstitutional. 5. Traditional leaders may be considered as biased. 6. It may stifle the development of the community and the nation at large. 7. Traditional leaders have been affected by corruption. 8. It could lead to the complication of governance structure. 9. It will bring community division. 10. Traditional leaders should focus on their core mandates assigned to them by the 1992 Constitution. 11. It is anti-democratic. 12. There will be loss of trust through the lack of accountability. And 13. Traditional leaders may focus on community interests as against national interests. My opponents say that chiefs command respect, so they should be given larger roles to play in governance as it will help them. Well, my opponents, ask yourself why politicians are not respected. It's obviously because of politics. In Ghana, politics is a dirty game, and anyone who involves himself will eventually be dragged down the mud, and traditional leaders are no exception. My opponents also say chiefs are an epitome of culture, so it is necessary for them to be given larger roles to play in the governance of Ghana. My opponents, have we lost our culture? Have we lost our identity? It is for this same reason chiefs are given roles to play at the local level of governance. The chair, have traditional leaders been successful in preserving culture? If yes, what more do they need larger roles for? If no, then they should do their homework first before fighting for larger roles. Also, my opponents claim that traditional leaders can collaborate with the leadership to govern the country. My opponents, two captains cannot sail the same ship. Also, my opponents claim that the traditional leaders will be able to provide the demands of their people because they are with the people. Traditional leaders only need to make these needs known to the government and not necessarily play larger roles in government. The little roles, or should I say the bigger roles, already play in the governance of the local level. They are not doing it to the fullest. Why else should we add the R to make it larger? My opponents, traditional leadership is a biblical institution. Wow! Where were you when the Chihine sided with our excellent Nana Addo Dankwa Ekufuado because he is the chief of his hometown? My opponents also claim that traditional leaders help with developmental projects. But my opponents, if they help with developmental projects, let them help. Who is stopping them? If they are doing well with their normal roles, why give them larger roles? How sure are you, my opponents, that the traditional leaders will continue with these developmental projects after aligning themselves with political parties who have their own policies? Thank you.
Like I always say, this is a battleground, but it is not a battle of fist, but a battle of facts and of figures. Bring in your facts, bring in your figures, tender in the evidence and the exhibit. Let's watch the videos, let's hear the audios, and at the end of the day, the judges will make the decision.
Dreaming of studying abroad, United States, Canada, the UK, Australia, or other countries? CUPA Study International makes that dream a reality. With over 29 years experience in the school placement business, we provide expert guidance to prospective students from application to admission on visa processing, accommodation, travel, and scholarships. Our global partnerships open doors to prestigious universities worldwide, helping you gain world-class education and international exposure and preparing our students for their future careers. From your hometown to your dream destination, we work with you every step of the way. CUPA Study International, Ghana's premier college and university placement agency, is an efficient and very professional agency. Visit us today to take the next steps towards a successful career. Success starts here. Let's facilitate your study abroad journey smoothly.
Imagine a world without worry. A place where everyone is who they say they are, where the people and assets most important to you are protected. A safe space. For over 3 decades, Margins ID Group and its subsidiaries have been building this world. Our state-of-the-art access control systems, asset tagging systems, and CCTV installations ensure that the assets most important to you are protected. We have designed and built award-winning national identity infrastructures, supported by our ultra-modern in-house designed and built verification system. We are the identity experts. We represent you, and we are certified to do so. Proudly, the only African facility to be certified by Intergraph at central banking level. Margins ID Group, made in Ghana by Ghanaians for the world. Visit us now at www.marginsgroup.com.
The National Girls Speech and Debate Championship is brought to you by Mermac Productions in partnership with the Ghana Education Service, Ghana Commission for UNESCO, Forum for African Women Educationalists, and Planned Parenthood Association of Ghana. Proudly sponsored by Margins ID Systems, Identity Management Systems, Intelligent Card Production Systems, CUPA Study International, Verna Mineral Water, McBerry Biscuits, and Planet Drinks. Also supported by Uncle Adlaw for Buying Organization and Canan Care Travel and Tour. NGSDC, Educate, Empower, Encourage.
The judges are ready with their marks, the moment we have all been waiting for. In the next few minutes, we will know which school is going to the grand finale to debate Chief Opras. So Doc will do the presentation of the certificate of participation to all the 6 ladies, and then we can continue from there. Ekwia Atre Sapon Akosa. Abena Drowa Oting Nyameche. All right. And then from GOMOA Senior High School, Precious Osei. Francisca Odum. And Fatuad. All right, judges. Yeah.
Doc, if you could please just help us with the presentation for the best debater. The best debater for the round is Francisca Odum from GOMOA.
Francisca coming through as the best debater for the second part of the semifinals.
Very, very high level debate in the sense that, hello? Yes, in the sense that the motion presented difficulties on both sides, but all of you were able to argue it, and we appreciate the energy you brought on board. We would give some feedback so that you can learn from it. So I'll start with GOMOA. Precious, right? Was the principal speaker. I beg you, the teachers training GOMOA, this may be an advice. Can you let this girl slow down a bit so that she can be heard audibly? Because she makes great points, she's a great debater, but she starts off by rattling, and she's not concerned about we hearing her, but just going on rattling. Now, apart from that, your definition of the motion was very good. You clarified your stance. So even before you began, you made us know that your argument is not that the traditional leaders should not play a role, not so, but they should play a larger role, right? So they should be given a more larger role to play. And then you also gave a historical role of chiefs. And one of the things I like about your presentation, I think for all of you, was that your evidence in support, especially your research citations, were very good. On both sides, there was evidence in support, but one of the things that stood out for me was you're able to quote research citations in support of what the argument you were making, and it was very, very good for me. And the historical role of chiefs in development was very rich, and you gave some very good points. Then, Francisca, before we arrived at Best Debater, we had a series of arguments here. And for me, the reason Francisca got the Best Debater is that she made a very important clarification to the argument this side was making, which directly rebutted a lot of things that had been said here. And the fact that he said that governance is not equal to the partisan politics that this side was arguing. And for me, I found that very instructive. All right? Apart from that too, I realized that you had command over the language. Your transitions were good. Your eloquence and how you pronounce your words and the words you use in themselves were very rich. And you added extra points: social cohesion, legacy of wisdom, experience, economic growth. Great debater, Francisca. So well done on that. Fatua too was in contention for Best Debater. The Best Debater was between Fatua and Francisca. The argument tilted in favor of Francisca, but that should tell you that you did an equally good job with your summary, your rebuttals, the way you concluded on biblical notes, and the fact that you said something that, for me as a student of the law, I found very important, and that's Article 276. So Article 276 says that chiefs should not play, 2761 says that chiefs should not play active role in party politics. Then 2762 says that notwithstanding, these chiefs can be appointed into public office, which means that they can still play a role in governance. And I found that kind of citation and explanation, especially when you cited the Chieftaincy Act and all of that, at this level, very impressive. So well done, all right? Yes. You really had control over the debate. St. Monica's, Eugenia also, you really did well by defining the motion, all right? And the audio row that you started with, the audio slide, that you started with was good. But I was struggling to know what the effect is, because for me, what I got from it was that if chiefs get themselves involved in governance, they would be insulted. And because of that, chiefs should stay away from governance. I didn't find that too strong. Why shouldn't they play a role in governance? If anybody that plays a role in governance would be insulted, therefore should everybody stay away? The definition of the motion was very good. You defined the motion well, and you gave a lot of points: conflict of interest, and then compromise their independence, and then you said partisan politics argument. The partisan politics argument for me was well rebutted. And so while I know now as a point, by the time these people came, it had become weak for me on my sheet. And then, you see, by the time Equia came, they had rebutted, Francisca had rebutted that the partisan politics is not the only way in which you can play a role in governance. So I had taken note of that, and I was expecting you to come and repair that point. Do you understand? At that point, you were supposed to come and repair that point and provide a fair rebuttal, defeating that rebuttal that had come from that side. But I didn't really see that. But you provided other points, okay, which was good. And one of the things that you did that was good was that you also brought in the weaknesses of the chieftaincy institution to make your point. And I thought that was very good. Abena, you did your job as a summarizer. You were very, very good. For me, amongst the three debaters, you were the best for me. You played your role well, you did your summary. And importantly, your rebuttals were very comprehensive. You covered almost everything they had said. You took your time and within 3 minutes, I don't know how you did that, but it was very comprehensive and very dense. And so, well done on that. And I think that all of you have a future in debate. Continue honing your skills. All right? Thank you very much. proponent of the motion, GOMOA Senior Technical School, Jan 1 scored 255, Jan 2 scored 260, Jan 3 scored 297, making a total of 812. 255, 260, 297, making a total of 812. For St. Monica's, Jan 1 scored 236, Jan 2 scored 225, Jan 3 scored 249, making a total of 700.